morning. My name is Chad Radich, and today I'm going to speak to you all about women in the infantry. I want you all to take a look at this. This is the motivation for my speech today. Maybe some of you have personally wondered why women aren't in the infantry. Well, listen up, because I'm about to tell you. I personally feel qualified to speak on this subject due to having 7 years in the Marine Corps, multiple deployments in the Middle East, and I've personally served alongside women. The purpose of my speech today is to persuade you all to keep the current policy in effect. No women in the infantry. I plan on doing this by giving you multiple reasons why they don't belong there. First, physical fitness. Physical training by infantrymen is done above and beyond the other service members in the military. They run, swim, do numerous strength and conditioning exercises, and the worst of all are the humps. These are long hikes that are done from 3 to 25 miles with full combat load and can last up to 8 hours long. Also are the workups, or the months of pre-deployment training. These are also very physically demanding. But where it counts is strength and endurance required of an infantryman in combat. An infantryman can leave a forward operating base in Afghanistan or Iraq, and they can be on patrol or hump for days or even weeks at a time. They can do this in full combat load, which can weigh anywhere from 80 to 120 pounds with little sleep and little food. Also possibly engaging the enemy in firefights along the way. But the two scariest situations, for me personally, is that of the thought of a woman trying to remove a wounded soldier from the battlefield. This is an immense 300-pound task to ask of another man, much less a woman. Also, the scariest situation I can think of is that of hand-to-hand combat. The average man is 5'9", 180 pounds. The average woman is 5'4", 140 pounds. This is not going to end well for the woman the majority of the time. You do the math. The simple fact of the matter is that the majority, notice I said majority and not all, the majority of women lack the physical strength required to perform the duties of an infantryman. It's that simple. Now that I've told you all about some of the physical requirements expected of an infantryman, I'm going to move on and explain how women negatively affect unit cohesion and unit morale. Unit cohesion. This is the bond built amongst men, amongst brothers, from living, eating, sleeping, showering, training together for months, even years at a time. And this can be broken by adding one variable to the equation, a woman. As soon as that woman is entered into the equation, the males start playing the alpha male role. They start vying for the attention of that female. And this really hurts that bond. That it brings it down. Next, unit morale. Men have to constantly watch what they say and do and walk on eggshells around women due to sexual harassment allegations. This is very real drama that happens all the time, not in the infantry today. Also, rumors, gossip of relationships, fornication, who's sleeping with who's dating who. Is she cheating on him? All this negatively affects unit morale. And the last thing is pregnancy and combat. This would be a huge blow to morale. All these are unnecessary things that are all added to the equation just by simply adding a woman into the mix. A warfighter should be thinking about one thing and one thing only, and that's fighting. Not who's hooking up with who or is she cheating on him. All this is unnecessary. Now I've told you guys some ways that women will negatively affect unit cohesion and unit morale. I'm going to move on to my last point. This is the way men and women are different psychologically and emotionally. This has already been tried in the past. Other countries in the past have tried to integrate women into their infantry. And it didn't work psychologically for the men. It didn't work because when the bullets started flying, the men felt a need to protect the women. Possibly knowing what might happen to her if she's captured by the enemy. Another thing, the infantry is sometimes asked to work as a show of force within a village or a town. And many Islamic cultures today, men just have a flat-out lack of respect for women. The men are here and the women are here in their cultures. And that's just how it is. So women infantry or infantry women trying to act as a show of force is not going to be very effective. they're not going to get that respect patrolling through a town. Also, men of these cultures are much more likely to fight to the death rather than surrender to a woman. Another great point, women currently feel a higher percentage of post-traumatic stress syndrome than men do, and they're not in the infantry right now. What are these numbers going to look like if women are in the infantry? They're going to skyrocket. And then you have instinct and emotion. For thousands of years, men have been fighting battles. They've been fighting, and they'll continue to fight battles for thousands of years after we're long gone. When you mix testosterone and adrenaline, you get a bloodthirst, aggressive fighter. That's what men do. That's what we are. Women's instinct and emotion. They've been childbearing, nurturing, caring, loving teachers for thousands of years. And that's just what they do. It's simple, people. Women and men are just built differently. Our anatomies are different. Physically, emotionally, and psychologically. And women don't have a place within the infantry, on the front lines. It's simple. Once again, the purpose of my speech is to persuade you all to keep the current policy in place. No women in the infantry. Today I talked about how women in the infantry will be affected by physical fitness, unit cohesion, and unit morale. Also, how men and women are just different psychologically and emotionally. I feel more than qualified to speak on this, having served alongside women myself and being a Marine of 7 years with multiple combat tours. Now I have a question for you all. Ask yourself, do women really belong on the front lines with our infantrymen? And if the answer to this question is yes for you, then I have another question for you. Does it put the men alongside these women at an unnecessary risk? All for the sake of being politically correct and not hurting anyone's feelings. Now, I'd like to conclude my speech with an anonymous quote. When our democracy starts getting overruled by the minority and not the majority, this country will fall. Thank you.